Alright, so this is the Rise of the Tomb Raider console speedrun tutorial part 7, research base. Take, I don't even know, because I have had to record this so many times, and I've lost track. But anyways, this is the research base. So right at the start, you're going to want to turn around, but it's going to be really weird, like Lara's movement. She's going to like walk backwards, and I don't know, but you want to switch to your arrow and just shoot the broadhead arrow into the wall.
I'm about to go in after Jonah.
And then just go down the zip line. So this part of the run is, it's another moment where the console route deviates from the PC routes. This is probably the biggest route change. So you want to climb up this wall.
Storm's coming in.
Go across here, and this is where the route changes. So I would recommend you make an extra save slot, because when you're practicing this, you'll only be able to practice it once. Because once we're out of bounds, we're going to get a checkpoint, and that checkpoint would put us back in bounds. So if you revert to practice it again, well, you can't, because you're going to be reverted back in bounds. So just make an extra save state right here once we're in bounds, so you can practice it again. So right here, we're going to do a kind of weird clip. It's pretty easy, but it's a lot different than what we've normally been doing. Normally during clips, you want to move your camera to the right like this, but we're not actually going to do that. We're not going to move the camera at all. So we're just going to look kind of parallel with this shadow, just kind of like this, and then we are going to hold back and to the right, just slightly to the right. You can see Lara's shadow kind of walking to the right. So anyways, just back scramble, and that's all you need to do. Just hold back and a little bit to the right. It's kind of a weird clip to get used to, but it's not bad at all. So we're going to come over here. You want to make sure you jump over this, because you'll just fall into the void. Just axe climb up. Go around. This rock's hitbox is actually pretty big, so you need to take a wide left to actually get around it. Don't go too far left, because this invisible hitbox we're standing on doesn't go infinitely over there, so just stay a little bit to the right. Just axe climb all the way over. And right here, you're going to need to jump over the gap and axe climb up here. If at any point you fall down, it's okay. You'll just land right here. And if that happens, you can just come back right here. And we're already back where we need to be. So just jump across, axe climb up, and go around to the right a little bit to make your way over. And right here, you want to go a little bit to the left to get up this part right here. I guess you could just go straight up, but you can stand on this invisible part right here. But again, don't go too far left, or else you'll fall off and die. Right here, I like to aim for this dark spot. And that's what I axe climb into. And now this is where both routes, console and PC, line up again momentarily. So the PC route ends up coming out of bounds right here. And you can actually do that out of bounds on console, but it's just really inconsistent, and it's really annoying, and you'll probably end up losing time, as opposed to just taking the intended path. So we're not going to do that. So this is where the routes diverge again. We're going to come down here, and you'll see the Tomb Raider logo in the bottom right. And that gave us that checkpoint I was talking about. So if at any point you revert, you'll be put back in bounds. And you want to make sure you hit that loading, because that will load in the rest of the map properly. The PC route actually doesn't need to go down there, but we do since we're skipping some triggers. So come up onto this rock and jump across. And we're going to climb up to the right. Just keep jumping up through those invisible rocks. Jump over here. Now this jump's kind of weird. We're going to want to land on that small ledge. We're going to land right here. But what I like to do is, I like to do this in a fluid motion. So like this. And I get up here. I like to move forward into this rock right here. Like I'm holding forward into it, so I'm slowing down. Because if I were to just hold forward like this, then I would get my full speed of, you know, holding forward, and I might overshoot it. So if you hold forward into this rock, your momentum gets slowed down a little bit, so it's easier to control. So that jump actually kind of takes a little bit to get used to. If you fall down, it shouldn't be too bad, as long as you don't fall all the way down. So if you fall down here, if you fall down there, I actually don't know if you can recover from that. So don't fall all the way down. But if you fall right here, you can just go over here. And now you're back. So again, jump forward into this rock to slow down your momentum. You just get a bit more control. And now we're going to jump down onto that lower rock right there. Like that. And now here comes the scary part. We're going to need to jump down onto this rock right there. This jump is deceivingly difficult. It's actually not too bad, but it's not easy. So pretty much it's just a normal jump. There's nothing special about it. You're just going to run, and at the very end of this little ledge, you're going to jump. So you definitely need to practice it, because this is the moment where you can die. Because if you fall and miss, it's pretty easy to miss, honestly, but it's not too bad. If you miss it, then you'll die, and you'll be reverted back inbounds at that checkpoint. And then you would have to do the intended route. So depending on how fast your run is right now, the run may or may not be dead. But yeah. Anyways, continuing on, just come over here. Now we're going to get into the water right here. So just swim forward a little bit underneath these rocks. And once you resurface, you can turn to the right. And we're going to need to go over there, just right there. But if you keep turning the camera, things will start loading in even more. So now you can see the ledge that we need to climb up on. And then you can see this kind of indent in the snow right here. That's what I look for, because that's where you're going to be walking, just to through that indent. And then the game is kind of back to normal. You're going to skip the cutscene and you're going to reload checkpoint. And I actually reload checkpoint twice. Sometimes you need to. Okay, so after the first reload, one of two things can happen. One is the game is normal like it is right now. And the other thing that can happen, I don't know why it happens, but the screen can just be completely black. And you can still move around, and you can actually fight the enemies up ahead, but your screen will just be totally dark. And I have no idea why it happens. And if that happens, then obviously you need to reload checkpoints to get your screen back to like this. If you just get this, where the first time you don't get the black screen, I always still reload again, because for whatever reason, it may just be placebo, but I swear these next clips coming up are way easier if you reload twice. Again, that could just be placebo, but I don't know. So anyways,
Everywhere.
so right here is the next clip. You actually don't even need to turn around for this one either. You just need to back scramble, and if you're gonna clip through, then you just instantly clip through. So I instantly clip through. And now I'm behind the trees. That clip can actually be very annoying at times. That's probably one of the most inconsistent clips. Just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, if it doesn't work after the first few tries, then just kind of like back out and then reset. That's what I like to do. But it should work. So we're going to jump over this fence, and to do that, you want to stand on these rocks right here, just so you can jump over. Now, if at any point you fall down here into this deep snow, which can't happen, but you can just go to the right of this tree right here to get back up. So we're going to go along this cliff. Don't jump to the right. Jump down to the left. And now you want to make this jump. Don't miss this jump, because if you miss it, you're going to lose a lot of time. You're going to fall back down there. You're going to have to climb up using the broadhead arrows. And then there are two enemies right there that you need to slowly walk behind, or else you'll alert them. And then you'll come around right here. It's actually a pretty big time loss. So right here is another kind of inconsistent clip. This is like the only clip I actually use a stutter clip. If you remember back in like part 2 or 3 or whatever, I mentioned the regular back scramble clip and then the stutter clip where you just let go of aim like that. You let go of aim and then press it again. I actually do that clip right here. So you're gonna try to clip between the tree and the wooden fence. So kind of split the angle down the middle. Again, just looking halfway between, kind of like this. And then you're going to want to think about clipping into the post, into the wooden fence. Because that's pretty much what you're doing. Like that. I actually do very little camera movements for this one. Because if you move the camera kind of sporadically, you'll end up not clipping through, and you'll be doing that. You'll just go down this log right here. So very little camera movement. I'm really just pretty much holding back the whole time. So that didn't work at all. So yeah. It's a pretty annoying clip at times. Oh, whoops. And then, yeah. You want to be careful you don't jump back in bounds like I just did. So pretty much just think about clipping through the wooden fence. If you think about going through the fence, then it makes it a lot easier, or at least it does for me. So once you're up here, you just climb up here. And then you don't want to go too far left. You don't want to go over there, because you have the potential to deload this entire area and you'll just fall to your death. So just go across the field, down the mountain. Alright, so right here is where some death planes are, so it's really easy to avoid them. You just don't jump roll. That's just how you avoid it. So you can just run down here. You're safe, don't worry about it. But at this point, you do not want to jump roll. After you drop down those few cliffs, do not jump roll. So you're just going to sprint along here. And then after I pass these two trees right here, then that's like you're perfectly safe to start jump rolling. You can actually start a little bit back further, but just to be safe, I like to pass these trees right here. and then you're good to continue. So that's how you avoid that death plane. Just don't jump. And if you were to die, then you'd be put back in bounds where you did that crane clip. The clip right next to the crane, so don't die. So now we're going to try to get into the terrible fight section, because this is what this is. You're going to want to jump to where this metal thing is sticking out. And right here, you don't want to jump down, or don't fall down inside, because you'll soft lock. You can't get back out if you do. So, all of this is solid. Most of this game, out of bounds, is solid, which is actually pretty cool. But just be careful, don't jump down by accident. Right there, I actually should have mentioned, I'm running along the orange plates. And then I jump over pretty early. Like, you don't want to go down and then jump. Because there's like an invisible ceiling right here that you saw me kind of stand on. And you could end up... Oh, whoops. You could end up falling down into the water, and I'm pretty sure you would soft lock. So just jump early. Alright, so for terrible fight, I'm gonna do this like step by step. I'm gonna do one part and then immediately reload checkpoint, just because I feel like it'd be way easier to explain what I'm doing step by step, as opposed to just doing the entire fight and try to explain it a lot while I'm doing it. So anyways, what we're gonna do, we're gonna first shoot a guy in the head with our bow and arrow. So we're gonna go up here, stand about right here behind this box, and shoot him in the head. You'll notice that I didn't like aim at all. I pretty much just stood still and let him walk into my reticle. So I don't actively try to aim for his head. I just kind of sit there and just let him walk into his death. And then we're gonna come over here and shoot this guy in the head. Like that. Shoot him in the head with a pistol, rather. Sometimes it can be really difficult with all the smoke and fog. So I actually don't look for his head. I look for his laser, and that kind of gives me an idea of where his head is. So shoot him, run over here. And I was just looking at his laser sight. So right here, you want to switch back to your bow, and you're going to pick up the gas can. Make sure, if you have your gun out, then you can actually end up reloading and like picking up the ammo crates and whatnot, and it can be really annoying. So if you have out your bow, that won't happen, because you don't need to reload your bow. So it just makes picking up the gas can a lot easier. So this is where we use that 2 cloth that I was talking about, that I was stressing about. Shoot him. Shoot him in the head. Put out your bow. Pick up the gas can. Gonna make the incendiary bomb and throw it right there into the bulk of the crowd. Don't throw it too far right, because it might end up hitting that gas can, which we're gonna use in a sec. And also, this fight isn't 100% consistent. Sometimes the enemy movement can be different. Like, this guy right here, he usually isn't here. He usually gets blown up and... Oh, nice crash. He usually gets blown up during that part. During the first explosion. And we're back. Okay. So again, like I said, AI movement can be a little bit different every now and then. So you kind of need to adapt on the fly in some cases. Shoot that guy. Shoot that guy in the face. Pick up that. Don't throw it too far to the right. And then we're going to look for the extra gas can on the ground. Right there. And you want to wait for that extra guy to zip line down. And then you're going to shoot those 2 guys that you killed in the second explosion. So now, optimally, there's going to be 1 guy left. And that's what we're facing right now. And optimally, he won't have his armor on, so you can just shoot him once, and he'll be dead. So that was the optimal case, where you have one guy standing, and he doesn't have his armor on. If he does have his armor on, then you can just melee him to death. That's what I do. It's 100% consistent, and you don't die. As long as you're super aggressive, he won't kill you. If he doesn't have his armor on, then you can just shoot him, and he'll be dead. So I'll do this a few times,
Surrounded.
just so you can see the different variations of what can happen. So wait till the guy ziplines down. See, this time there's only one guy right there. Shoot him once he's down. And I got lucky with that kill. I have no idea why this guy's all the way over here. I actually don't think I've ever seen that before. I have no idea why he was all the way over there.
Surrounded. Got to do this carefully.
So this fight, for the most part, is actually pretty consistent. So this is what usually happens. Oh, looking for the gas can. Shoot them once they're down. And then that guy had... The last guy, his armor got knocked off from the first explosion. Honestly, shooting this second gas can is probably the hardest part about this fight. It took me so long to figure out where to shoot it, because it's pretty much impossible to see. That's one disadvantage, or that's another disadvantage that console has. Because on PC, you can just pretty much remove all of the smoke and fog. But on console, you can't do that. You have to deal with it. Again, your reticle will turn red once you're hovering over, once you're pointing at the gas can. Nice misses.
Last one.
So, okay, there we go. So, for the most part, this fight is pretty consistent, but it does have its fair bit of RNG. It's not too bad, though. Again, the hardest part is just getting the gas can, hitting the second gas can.
Surrounded. Got to do this carefully.
That guy advanced somehow.
Someone get a visual.
So as soon as I throw that first gas can, I immediately start looking for the second one. Oh, nice. So then after the fight's done, I just start looting everyone like mad. You don't get a lot, honestly. You just get a bunch of like cloth and useless items. So I'll do it one more time. So this fight does take practice. It took me a while to get the hang of it.
Do this carefully.
But as long as you can adapt on the fly and hit the second gas can, then you should be good. Like right here, it's actually... Okay, so that time I actually hit both gas cans. So I threw it too far to the right. If you have heals, then go crazy on the heals. Like, you want to be generous on yourself if you have extra revives. So don't be afraid to use them. But usually you don't need to use them. This guy does like to sometimes stand in front of you, and if that happens, He really just... It's pretty annoying when he's like, when he's standing there. So I should have used a heal, but if this was a run, I would have definitely healed right there. That was actually a pretty bad case. The worst scenario is when that guy is standing right in front of the second gas can. Because then you need to go out from cover
Do this carefully.
in order to shoot the gas can. Okay.
Surrounded. Got to do this carefully.
So wait for the guy to come down the zip line. And then this guy still has his armor on, so I'm just gonna mash him to death.
That was the last of them. Got to get back to Jonah.
And then just start looting everyone. Again, practice terrible fight. It's a very practice heavy segment. And once you get the hang of it, it's honestly not too bad. When you're starting out, it is honestly pretty difficult. It was one of the most difficult sections when I first started. But after a while, it does get a lot easier. So just keep at it and keep practicing. And now, on to the Path of the Deathless, which is, in my opinion, by far the hardest segment. So fun times ahead.